Well, Billy Joel had a hit song, I Go to Extremes, and that has been an extreme schedule for the Toledo Rockets as we welcome in Mike Robinson from the Toledo Rocket Radio Network sideline reporter for UT. And Mike Rob, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
So the extremes were, you start off with LIU and UMass, an FCS team towards the bottom of the FBS, and then you go all the way towards one of the best teams in the FBS in Ohio State. So Toledo hasn't really played anybody that's equal to them. That changes Saturday against San Diego State.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you learned from last week is the buzzsaw is gone. You're not going to see that anymore. You're going to see more teams that's more competitive up front and matches up with us up front. I mean, both of those tackles for Ohio State, first-round NFL draft picks easily. And they contained our defensive ends pretty well. I think you're going to have a very angry Terrence Taylor and Jamal Hines this week for the defensive aspect for getting those 77 points put up on them.
Perhaps the bright spot for the Rockets in the horseshoe was Daquan Finn, the quarterback who had 2 touchdown passes, a touchdown run as well. Daquan Finn showed how dangerous he can be, and that was against a very good defense. You put him against the rest of the MAC and against San Diego State, he's going to have some very good games.
DQ is smooth. I mean, this dude is just one of the smoothest football players that you're going to find. The way he just gets on the field, his supreme confidence, and his ability just to be able to play make, just be able to be a creator out there, almost like it's on the playground, just being able to run around and make a play. But he actually understands the offense, and they also have things that happens like on that big play breakdown with Thomas Zyro. So you got the scramble rules, and those things benefit him because he is such a danger to those defensive backs. They will scoot up and try to come tackle him, and he'll put it over their head like he did last week.
A lot of people trying to draw comparisons to the loss last year to Notre Dame, but Jason Candle quickly put a snuff out on that, saying, after Notre Dame game, we thought, maybe some guys thought they played pretty well. After this Ohio State game, nobody was thinking they played very well, as you lose by 8 touchdowns. How do you bounce back from a performance like that? Do you just quickly put it away? Are there things you can take away from being exposed by the Buckeyes?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to just look in the mirror, and I think that's the biggest thing that the Buckeyes made the Rockets do is look at themselves. You're going to take a look at this running back room and say someone has to emerge. The ground attack for the Rockets was kind of light. They didn't get it going. Obviously, the opponent, we get that. But you still got to find a way to be gritty up front. And one of the 3 running backs have to say, I'm that guy, because DQ cannot run the ball the entire season, although he will if he has to, but you got to find some help up there. And this is a big week for that offensive line because they got to get going.
After playing their first 3 games under the lights, Rockets will play a daytime game in California. 12:30 local start in San Diego, 3:30 back here in Ohio. So that's going to be a little bit of an adjustment for the internal clocks to go from playing primetime, then you fly 5 hours, and now you're going to play an afternoon game.
I think the Rockets are used to just taking trips. They've been in the Bahamas several times. They've been all across the country. I don't think that's going to be an excuse for the Rockets. I think this is just a big business trip for these guys. They got to come out here and really set this tone. And I mentioned it, I'll mention it again. The rushing attack is what Jason Candle really wants out of this team. The challenge is going to be Vinny Scurry and these guys up front is can they really push this defensive line that gave up a lot of yardage up front. And in this offense, too, for, San Diego State, their quarterback, they went through 3 different quarterbacks, and the young freshman Crum went in there. He's a fantastic kid from the inlands up there, but he was not ready. He threw a lot of pass interceptions. So this defense got to have their teeth ready to go cut these offensive linemen. They got 2 freshmen starting on the right side. So this is a young, inexperienced football team. You just can't take them lightly. You got to go in here and handle business off the bat.
San Diego State 1-2. They've lost to some pretty decent football teams. Brady Hoke, your head coach. That's right, former Ball State, former Michigan head coach. Brady Hoke is now back at San Diego leading the Aztecs. Offensively, are there things that the Rockets can exploit against the San Diego State defense?
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that they're going to exploit is the pass game. They gave up a lot of passing yards to the quarterback from Utah, Rising. He's very similar to DQ. He can run and he can pass the football. They get out of their defense. They play zone a lot, but there's often holes in the defense that DQ is going to hit. Thomas Zyros, you can expect for him to have a big game, and Jamal Turner. So the Rockets, they're going to pass the football well, but again, it starts up front. They got to be nasty, and they got to run the football because that's what they gave up a lot last week. A lot of run plays, and that's what they're going to try to do.
Rockets head out to San Diego. Brand new stadium for San Diego State. Mike Rob will be checking out the new digs.
Hot one.